Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Kalika and you're going to be a craftier person after watching this video. Keep everything where I put it, or how Dory caused a grown woman to lose it. On mobile, have mercy. TLDR below, happened a few months ago, lots of background but it's worth it. The background. I work as a child worker at my church. Overall, I absolutely love it. All the kids are awesome and super fun to play with. Unfortunately, my old supervisor had a family emergency in another state, so Amy came to take their role. After every use of the kids' room, we need to wipe down the toys and put everything away, so everything is ready for the next use. Usually, this would just involve putting all the toys on the shelves, picking up all the crumbs from snack time and washing blankets. Amy decided this was not enough. She reorganized the entire room. The to-do list to finish up tripled. Now it was, make sure all the toys are on the shelf, make sure all the books are in alphabetical order. Yes, really. Unplug all electrical devices, scrub the walls, sweep the carpet, vacuum the carpet, and about 12 other very specific but unimportant things. The most important rule, for this story anyway, was every single item must be put on the exact spot. All this made what was supposed to be a 15-ish minute endeavour into a 40-minute one. Needless to say, we did not particularly like her. I am 200% sure Amy had eagle-eyed memorized where all 50 plus pieces in the room was to the centimetre. Even after my co-workers and I did everything correct, if the rocking chair was too close to the wall, she would yell at us to move it literally 2 inches further up. Kid moved the toy kitchen while playing with it, Amy would act as if that kid threw it against the wall to us. After a month of us not telepathically knowing exactly where to put everything in Amy's perfect world, Amy pulled me and my 3 co-workers aside and pretty much moved every individual toy and furniture into her correct place for it. She gave us a list of how far apart everything was. The rocking chair is 5 inches away from the wall, the chairs are 8 inches apart from each other, etc. At the end of her charade, Amy said, "Keep everything exactly as you found it, as in where I put it," and left us to deal with the kids. However, as she left, she brushed up against the shelf with the stuffed animals on it, and a lone stuffed Dory from Finding Nemo fell off and rolled to the centre of the room. She looked at it in the hallway and rolled her eyes. Make sure to listen to me for once. Malicious compliance begins. One of my co-workers went to pick it up, but I stopped him. Remember what she said? Leave everything where she put it. My co-workers instantly get my idea. The kids come and go, and we spend an entire hour making sure everything was perfect. My co-worker finds a ruler and personally got on the floor to measure the exact distance as instructed. I wiped the same spot in the wall 4 times and organised the books so they were perfectly straight. In the middle of it all, Dory sat patiently. Amy comes to do a routine check. We stand behind her triumphant in our thoroughness. Fellow Redditors, I sincerely wish you were there to witness the anger of Amy that fine day. She screamed about how stupid and lazy we were. Sneered at how foolish us ignorant Christians were, that we could forget to pick up the stupid toy off the trucking floor. She cried to our Saviour about how we were so sinful as to not listen to our elders' instructions. After her rant, I looked her dead in the eyes. "Miss Amy, you put Dory there. We put it exactly where we found it." Amy realises what she had done. She told me quietly but stern to pick the darn thing up. I obey my elder. We were free to leave. I never saw Amy again. Luckily, this event coincided with my old supervisor returning from their trip. Amy got in trouble with the head pastor for yelling at us and the foul language. The last I heard, she moved to a different church. Peace returned to our children's church that day. That sounds so ridiculous. Imagine having to take out a ruler to measure a rocking chair from a wall just to make some crazy Karen happy. I'm sure she's a ton of fun at parties. Want to be a selfish witch? Enjoy your orange hair. On mobile, sorry for formatting. I'm a hairstylist. Last Wednesday between clients, I decided to run to the gas station to get an energy drink and was hit by a car coming out of the parking lot. My own car was totaled. The cops came, both cars were towed from the scene. I texted my next client, apologising and telling her that due to a serious accident, I would need to reschedule her appointment. She said that she needed her hair done before the 4th of July. I was standing in the street, looking at my car in pieces, on the phone with insurance, fielding questions from the cops, and still texted the salon owner asking if anyone could take my client today. The owner said she'd figure it out and would make sure my client would still be seen. I passed this information on to the client, who said she only wanted me to do it and needed to get in as soon as possible. So in the melee, I'm still worried about this client, who is a bad client by the way, and constantly complains about her hair, demands free redos, and only pays about 70% of the typical cost of her services because she managed to manipulate me into that price point when I was a newer stylist. I see in my schedule that I have absolutely no room to fit her in before the 4th, so I walk back to the salon after my car was towed away and just take her anyway. Once I get in, she doesn't ask if I'm okay, doesn't thank me for taking her anyway, but instead launches into a 3-hour-long brag about all the guys who are super into her and how she's dating a business mogul from Newport. The service goes as usual. I finish her hair 3 hours later, and I'm about to take her cape off and send her on her way when suddenly she has a problem with the colour. She says it's too ashy. It's the exact same formula and colour I've done on her for years, but today it's wrong for some reason. Trying to remain cheerful and professional, I tell her I'll put a new toner on her. No problem. At this point, my grandma is on my way with my daughter to pick me up. I text my grandma, saying I'll be a little later. I tone the client again and blow dry her a second time. The client insists that the colour is still too ashy. I explain that the second toner I used is the most golden toner that exists, and there is nothing less ash that I could put on her except for an opaque sort of gold pigment. She's clearly just being a sadistic witch. At this point, my grandma comes into the salon and asks if I'm ready to go. My client is looking at her hair and says, "You need to do something else. I can't leave like this." So my grandma goes back to wait in the car. I decide to use a very, very gold colour and tone it again for the 3rd time. She comes back to the chair and her hair is noticeably less ashy because it's practically orange. "I hate this," says the client. "I'm going to dinner with the guy from Newport tonight. I liked it better the first time. You need to do something else. Just do it like you did the first time." "I've done your hair 3 separate times at this point," I say, packing my stuff up. "As you know, my grandma and daughter have been outside waiting for me. Unfortunately, there's nothing else I can do, since now there's layers of toner on there and a 4th layer will only make it worse. But I hope you have a great week." I took her payment, which she scoffed and forcefully handed to me, and I left. It was maybe not my most professional moment, but I'd been looking for an escape for that client for years, and it was worth it. I bet she'll still come back and try and force this person to do her hair. And trust me, if I was in a car accident that left my car totaled, I would not be coming into work for anyone that day. You want me to burn all my time doing tasks I'm not supposed to do instead of my work? Sure. The background. I'm trying to get out of the store I'm working at. We don't really have stockers. Well, we do, but they get almost no hours and they make the sales floor associates do all their work instead of pay people to actually do the work. So almost every truck day, they grab me to help. It's very unfair to me, as I'm almost guaranteed to get picked every single time, but if it's anyone else there, they won't ask them to do it. I've tried to resolve the issue, but they've made it clear they don't want to fix our problems and just want to use me as a crutch for their shortcomings, then be nasty to me about it, which is why I feel semi-justified being an a-hole. I come in, and we had a truck. We have a new manager which we'll call Kate, who is very unpopular. She's very green and doesn't really understand how things work. A lot of the tasks she asks us to do don't make any sense or has impossible expectations in terms of how long certain tasks take. Kate came to me and she told me that there were 3 carts full of merchandise on the floor and she wants me to set new mods, strip the aisle bare, put all the new labels up and put everything in the correct order and work the new products out of the back. We are not supposed to set new mods on weekends because there's so much going on and we can't just stop halfway through, so we've always been told to never do them. I asked why we're doing this on the weekend and she told me to just do it anyway. I wasn't one to argue because she was polite about it and I had absolutely nothing to do anyways. It was actually kind of fun. It was like a mini vacation from my usual activities, but I knew there would be a crap storm coming. Sure enough, they tell me I need to help work the truck because they're either too lazy or too incompetent to do it themselves, like every truck day. I deadpan told the supervisor to ask Kate, because I can't just stop. I have to finish it before I do anything else. Not to mention, I had at least 15 huge boxes, trash everywhere, and a lot of overstock. They looked at that mountain of trash and boxes that Kate told them to just leave for me, and they left me alone. All stuff we are not allowed to do on the weekends for that very reason. Once I finished a good 3 hours later, Kate told us to work the back room. They just did that literally yesterday, but she insisted we need to do it again despite her knowing that. Again, I had nothing to do and I didn't want to go work pallets, so I just went along with it. I went back there and spent 2 hours with my coworker pulling out stuff that we knew fully well would not go out, push it back, chatting amongst ourselves, repeat. Then once it hit my lunchtime, I left. But once I came back, the night manager was fuming. He asked why I didn't help with the truck because apparently it's that hard to pass a memo along. The supervisor was still there and could have told him, but she didn't say anything. I just told him exactly what they told me to do and went on with my business. I wasn't getting in trouble for what I was told to do, especially by my direct boss, and I left a note behind detailing exactly what I was instructed to do if they give me crap tomorrow. Good, organised management is so hard to find. Squeaky wheel got the grease. I worked as a manager on duty at a large hotel with restaurants and held business conferences. If you don't get what a manager on duty would do in the evening hours at a place like this, not much. They're in case of emergency, and to glad hand big dogs. This is important later. I was called down to the fine dining steakhouse type eatery because one of the mid-level guys from some conference in the ballroom was being a complete jerk to the restaurant staff. Nothing was good enough for this dude. One of the best servers was horrible, the steak was too tough and not cooked right, the wine was bad. The server's in tears. The guy is making such a scene that even those at the table were embarrassed by. You get the picture. He demands the meal is comped and he be given a second meal tomorrow night, also comped. My reply: of course you'll not be having to pay for such a horrible experience you had tonight. In fact, everything is so bad I could never ask you to come back and lower yourself to these kind of standards. I feel so bad I won't even let you look at your plate any longer. As I took his plate away from him half eaten and with no offer to replace it, I let him know that I would personally apologise to the head of the conference, a nice guy, a few bosses above this jerkhead whom I was chatting with when I got called down. Oddly enough, I hear he was on a plane home the next day. I don't know what could have happened. That response from the manager was so beautiful and so well executed, it brought a little tear to my eye. Okay, so that's all for r/MaliciousCompliance. I really hope you did enjoy it. As always, if you do want to see more content like this, then please do subscribe. My Twitter, Discord, and Patreon links are in the description, and any support is greatly appreciated. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!